Hi Vivek. What is the quick takeaway from the budget?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on the show. I think it's a good budget from an industry standpoint. It's a budget that talks about continuity through the increased allocation towards capital expenditure and infrastructure by the government. But at the same time, it's a budget that talks about simplification and de-bottlenecking and making it easier for industry to operate, right? So there's that ease of doing element which shines through. And then I think there's also the ecosystem aspect of the budget, where the finance minister has said it's not just about large firms, but it is also about MSMEs. It is also about taking inclusive growth to tier 2, tier 3 cities. It is about making life easier for the common man. Talking about 7 new high-speed rail corridors is really a very landmark announcement, I would say. So there's a lot in this budget. There's a lot in the fine print. There are many things which might sound small in numbers, but which add up and have multiplier effects and cascading effects. Just to give you one example, I think there's an allocation of 20,000 crores for decarbonization in the core sector. Now, how does this play out? Well, firstly, it's going to help steel, power, and the core industry to become greener. At the same time, where will these green products go? They will go to the MSMEs who will be making greener products by using lower carbon intensive products. But what will that do? Well, that will ultimately help them export more competitively into global markets where we have signed FTAs. So now you can see the thread that connects this one decision to ultimately greater export competitiveness. And then also to leverage that, the focus on improving the fiscal health of MSMEs is also very timely, because ultimately, it is the MSMEs that are able to leverage, a lot from the FTAs. So I think I'm overall very happy with whatever we've seen so far.
Do you think it does enough to allay fears on exports?
Definitely, I think exports have to be led by the industry, right? The government can only create an ecosystem which is enabling, and whether it's on the electronic side, where they've simplified various things, whether it's on customs, both inward and outbound, the use of technology and AI. I think all of these are simple things which numbers might not be visible, but they have a deep impact on the overall export competitiveness.
And Vivek, since TKIL has diversified interests, what excited you most in this speech?
Well, there's a lot that we can see from the budget. Firstly, I think just the gross amount of investment going into infrastructure, because that touches our mining and material handling business, that touches our cement business, that touches our power business, our sugar business, our green hydrogen and biochemicals business. So I think there was something for each of our business verticals through that, and including, I think, on the skilling and people side of it, we have a large O&M asset management business as well. So I could see a positive impact on each of our verticals through various announcements in the budget.
And we hear a lot about private investment. The industry keeps saying that we are stepping up, but do you think, just from TKIL point of view, do you think it gives you at least some incentive to do this?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, even before this budget, we are on the lookout for, we've done some good capital investment, and we are looking out for further expansion in the coming days. So, I think just the fact that India today is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and the dynamism that we see. And of course, with this budget, it just reinforces our belief that, this growth story is going to continue to play out, irrespective of, what we see in terms of global geopolitics and any macro headwinds. I mean, look at last year, it was like a roller coaster, all kinds of things happened. And yet, we had very strong growth in the country. So, if none of those things happen, this will be a blockbuster year. But even if all of that were to repeat itself, which is hopefully nobody wants that, but even then, there's high confidence that India will continue to grow strongly. I mean, we grew our exports despite high tariffs. I mean, and now we have a whole bunch of FTAs that are going to kick in. So I think the story is only going to get better.
But that impact on exports is now starting to be visible on the numbers.
Well, I would say it's always an up and down kind of story. You also have to look at global demand. And what is happening, I mean, there are major parts of the world which are in all kinds of turmoil at this point in time. And as some of that settles, we should see, the high tide or, the levels rising again, and that will then be a natural boost. And, if you just think in terms of exports, I think the government has been very smart with the budget in terms of looking at what are export positive industries and helping them, giving them the extra nudge. So be it electronics, be it textiles, thinking about, customs and using technology and simplifying the processes, making it easier to bring in stuff and take it out, giving confidence to SEZs that, okay, if you're going to struggle with the exports, we're going to still make it viable by giving you a one-time, boost. All of that, I think these are confidence boosting measures, which will ultimately play out into a more confident private capital investment cycle. But also, ultimately that plays out into a stronger growth and exports story as well for the country.
And what's your personal opinion on if we do not sign a US trade deal even this year? Do you think we are shooting?
Well, I'm optimistic. I always hope for the best. But these are things one can never project. So we don't build business plans based on a particular geopolitical event happening or not. We build it irrespective. And I think last year's story, has simply said that, look, geopolitics may keep happening, but, I was one of the few people who raised my hands in the NC saying that, this year would be better than last year, and I believe next year will be better than this year. So, we are not really flustered about one particular, milestone event. Nevertheless, having said that, I think the indications are positive. We've heard from various, the US ambassador has said that things are positive. Davos, we heard various comments trickling through. So if it does happen, I think definitely it will benefit both sides, because I think trade at the end of the day is not unidimensional, is multidimensional, right? So I think there is as much to gain for both sides for things like that to happen.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.